This regular meeting of the Waco Independent School Board is hereby called to order. All items in which may be discussed or voted upon this evening have been posted as required by state law. I extend a warm welcome to those present and to our television viewers. The board's purpose is to set goals, listen to reports of the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, to make policy for the district. We're not here to make management decisions or to solve problems of individuals. Management is the responsibility of the superintendent and her staff. I ask that you turn your cell phones to silent alert if you haven't already done so. We appreciate the time you have taken to join us for your interest in the Waco Independent School District. Do we have anyone signed for public comment? No. We're moving on to a moment of silence. Please pause with me while we take time for prayer, contemplation, reflection, or meditation. And now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
This reflect United States of America to the flag United States on nation on God indivisible and to all.
Turn to practice one.
Good evening, President Vidania, members of the board, and Dr. Spicer. Leading our Pledge of Allegiance this evening are South Waco Elementary School students Brooklyn Golden and Keenan Woods. Okay. Brooklyn Golden is a kindergarten student at South Waco Elementary whose favorite subject is science. Brooklyn is involved in soccer and swimming. She also enjoys going to the water park and playing basketball and other games with her brother. When she grows up, she wants to become an author. And Brooklyn is the daughter of Jasmine Golden. Thank you, Brooklyn. Keenan is a first grader at South Waco Elementary, and his favorite subject is math, especially the pluses. Keenan plays football, and he enjoys going to the pool and playing with his friends. When he grows up, Keenan would like to be a professional football player. Keenan is the son of Alexis Foster and Kenneth Woods III. Thank you to South Waco Elementary School Principal Amy Atnett for having your students with us tonight. Yes. Thank you. Okay, next up are Region 12 Teachers of the Year. I just want to say really quickly before I get started, I want to honor them, but we had a scheduling conflict, and so they are actually getting their headshots done at Region 12 tonight at 6. But hopefully we'll be able to bring them back in September. But I'll go ahead and honor them through this. Each year, Waco ISD recognizes an elementary and secondary teacher of the year for the district. This year, we are thrilled to celebrate both of our Teacher of the Year recipients who were selected out of 77 school districts across the 12 county education service center area as Region 12 Teachers of the Year. On On August 4th, 2025, Dara Altamirano, West Avenue Elementary first grade teacher, and Taylor Adame, Waco High School Social Studies Department head and U.S. History teacher, were presented at the 2026 Region 12 Elementary as the 2026 Region 12 Elementary and Secondary Teachers of the Year. Dara Altamirano has taught at the West Avenue Elementary School since 2023. She's been in education for 13 years, serving Waco ISD in various capacities since 2015 and teaching for 3 years in Austin ISD. Altamirano is committed to fostering a love for reading and writing in her students. She has created a learning environment that is supportive, safe, and engaging to build a strong foundation for her students' future and academic success. Altamirano is also passionate about inspiring and mentoring other teachers to cultivate the next generation of effective educators. She finds great joy in helping both young learners and fellow teachers grow and hopes to create joy for them in return. Taylor Adame has taught U.S. history at Waco High School since 2020 and has served as the Social Studies Department head since 2022. Adame has been in education for 10 years, previously serving for 4 years at another Waco ISD campus and 1 year in Duncanville ISD. Adame is passionate about connecting historical events to contemporary issues and encourages her students to analyze the past to apply its lessons to the present. She hopes that her classroom is where history shifts into action and empowers her students to shape their community. Outside of teaching, Adame strives to establish a school culture where every student is seen, supported, and valued. She knows that just because a student is not on her roster does not mean they are not within her reach, and works to help build better futures for the students of Waco High School. When you see them, please say congratulations to them both. Each month, Waco ISD recognizes a community partner making a difference for students with the Waco ISD Award for Outstanding Community Partners. This month's community partner is Raising Cane's. Raising Cane's has supported the district by donating beverages and food for numerous events at the campus level and district-wide. They have generously donated gift cards and gift baskets for Teacher Appreciation Week, partnered with campuses for fundraising events, given their time to help set up learning spaces, and recently gave 125 box combo gift cards to students supporting the Waco ISD convocation, which totaled in value over $1,400. Accepting the award for Raising Cane's are Joe Davila, Mike O'Malley, Mary Maxwell, and Mark Strauss. Thank you for your partnership and support of our students and staff. Thank you. That's all we have for special recognitions. Thank you.
Next, we're moving on to item four, special. Oh no, we did that. We're moving onto the superintendent report, Dr. Spicer.
Yes, sir, Mr. President and trustees. First of all, I'd like to talk about back to school events and give you a recap. We kicked off the school year with both district-wide and campus-based events, inviting our students, their families, and our staff to come together and start the school year strong. I enjoyed getting to experience my first Waco ISD Family Fest, where we distributed over 1,900 backpacks filled with school supplies and connected families with campus staff and community resources. Before Family Fest, we hosted our first ever Superintendent Superhero Fun Run, and our Waco ISD community showed out. We exceeded our goal of 200 participants and had an amazing time awarding medals across age categories that span more than 60 years young. And they're already asking for dates for next year, just so you know. Yes, no, it'll be summertime. Thank you to Ms. Courtney Parnell and Rhiannon Settles and the team of volunteers that planned and executed such a strong start for our families. Thank you all. The first 2 weeks of school. We had a fantastic first 2 weeks of school. I've been out visiting every campus and many more than once. And our district admin team has also been on campuses regularly, checking in with principals and supporting a very smooth start. It's been great to see students diving into learning and staff establishing strong routines and relationships right away. A big thank you to our facilities, maintenance, and support teams for all their hard work, especially with the successful opening of 3 new school buildings. And we're also grateful to our families for their partnership as we work together to keep the focus on achieving excellence for each and every student in our care. It's been a true team effort, and we're off to an extremely good start. And then good news that we also added today, before the meeting started, we got an email from Cooper Foundation, and they were kind enough to grant us a grant for $300,000 for our CIS in every school. So I want to publicly shout them out, and we'll do something bigger for them later, but just a kudos to them for saying yes to our request. Dedication. That's so awesome. Dedication of Kendrick. We will celebrate the new Kendrick Elementary School with a dedication event on Monday, September 15th at 11 a.m. Opening and dedicating a new building for a school with such a rich, meaningful history like Kendrick is an honor and something I am proud to celebrate with each of you in our community. So we do hope to see our community and our local representatives out with us. And then our strategic plan. Over the past several months, you've played a critical role in helping shape our new 5-year strategic plan, working alongside district leadership, staff, and community members to create a clear and focused roadmap for the future of Waco Independent School District. Your input and leadership have been invaluable in ensuring that the plan reflects our shared priorities and aspirations for our students, staff, and schools. As we now shift from planning to implementation, we're excited to launch a year-long series of board presentations that will provide regular updates on each of the strategic priorities outlined in this plan. These updates will not only keep you informed of our progress, but also provide opportunities for reflection, accountability, and continuous improvement. Each month, district teams will highlight work being done across campuses and departments to move our priorities forward, celebrating early wins, addressing challenges, and sharing data and stories that show the plan in action. We look forward to partnering with you throughout the year as we bring this strategic plan to life and continue working together to ensure every student in Waco ISD has access to an excellent and equitable education. And if you look at slide 1, this is the students. And so what you'll notice is on each of the goals, so we have 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, it shows the months that we will be speaking to you about these topics. If you go to the next slide, you'll see the dates that we'll be talking about certain areas with our staff. And then you'll also see when we'll be talking with our community and what months we'll bring that information to you. And then lastly, on our maintenance and operation and fiscal responsibility, you'll see the dates that will bring those items to you as well. So that's how we're gonna lay out the plan, and that's how we're gonna make sure we're accountable to you and also the public. Thank you. At this time, I have the pleasure to introduce Dr. Tamika Brown, Waco ISD's new Executive Director of Elementary Education. Dr. Brown brings 25 years of experience in education, including 7 years as a principal and over a decade in district-level leadership. Most recently, she served as an area superintendent in Fort Worth ISD, where she supported 38 campuses and over 21,000 students, coaching principals, leading improvement efforts, and strengthening instructional leadership. She began her career as a high school math teacher and has since served as an assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and chief academic officer. Dr. Brown holds a doctorate in educational leadership from the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. We're thrilled to have her complete our new Office of School Leadership with Dr. King Knowles, Ms. Logan, and Mr. McAdoo. Dr. Brown's experience and expertise will be a tremendous asset as we continue to support our principals and improve academic outcomes across the district for all students. Please help me welcome Dr. Brown.
Good evening, President Vidania, members of the board, Dr. Spicer. As she stated, I'm Tamika Brown. I'm really excited to serve as the Executive Director of Elementary Schools. In the 25 years that I've had the opportunity to serve in this amazing profession, I have been very blessed to work with many principals, many schools, doing school transformation. Very thankful for the opportunities that I've had, and I'm excited about the challenge that lie ahead, the challenge that Dr. Spicer gave us to ensure that in everything that we do, that we bring excellence. And so really excited to bring that excellence in every decision and in everything that we do and working with all of the elementary schools in Waco ISD. So thank you so much for this opportunity and look forward to coming back and sharing great successes. They're already happening all over Waco ISD and look forward to many more.
Next on the agenda is the public hearing to discuss budget and proposal tax rate for 2025-26 financial year, fiscal year. I will open the public hearing at 6:17. I will now turn it over to Ms. Cheryl Davis.
So this is the last time you'll have to hear a presentation. Okay, so in accordance with section 44.004 of the Education Code, the district must conduct a public hearing to discuss the 2025-2026 budget and proposed tax rate. All the requirements for budget adoption and setting the tax rate will be met with this public hearing. The purpose of the hearing is to allow any taxpayer of the district to present any comments regarding the budget or the proposed tax rate. Notice of the public hearing was published in the newspaper on August 16th, 2025. Additionally, both the notice and the proposed budget as compared to the prior year have been posted on the district's website since that date. So we'll go into this. Okay, sorry. So, talk a little bit about the Education Code, Education 44.002. The superintendent shall prepare or cause to be prepared a budget covering, let me go back here, covering the following fiscal year. The summary of the proposed budget, as I said, is posted on our Waco ISD website under Departments, Financial Transparency page, Proposed Budget. Under the Texas Property Tax Law, the Texas Constitution, Tax Code, and Education Code all embody concepts of truth in taxation, which require the school districts to comply with certain steps in adopting our tax rates. The school district tax rates, as we've discussed recently, are composed of the maintenance and operation rate and the interest and sinking rate. The M&O rate covers most of our operating expenses in the general fund. That is our match for our state revenue. And then the INS taxes pay the principal and interest on bonded debt that has been previously approved by the taxpayer. Looking a little bit at our truth in taxation, our proposed tax rate for this coming year for the M&O rate is 76.64 cents per $100 of valuation. Our debt service rate will be 26.02 cents for $100 of valuations. The comparison of our proposed budget with last year's budget, we actually have a decrease in our maintenance and operation budget of 3.04%. And on our debt service, we have a slight increase because our debt payments have gone up a little bit. We have more principal payments in this coming year than we did in this past year. And so it's gone up just under 0.6%. So our total expenditures have actually decreased 2.6%. On the our total appraised value and our total taxable value, our total appraised value of all property for the preceding year was 14.2 billion. For this current year, not a big increase in appraised values this year as it has been in some prior years, but it's been 14.4 billion. Our total appraised value of new property is $249 million was last year and compared to $170 million this year. So when I was in cabinet, they did ask me a question about that difference and why that went down as much as it did. So I did contact Jim Halbert at the appraisal district to ask him that question. And so he told me that the decrease in the new value is due to a couple of factors. The main reason is that 2024 was a reappraisal year for Waco ISD, so we did have some increases there because all the accounts were reviewed to make sure the improvements were listed on the roll. And then also there were also 30 fewer new builds in this past year, and he says some of that has to do with the timing of big construction projects finishing. And last year, because of COVID and sort of a slow construction period there, we had a lot of bigger projects finished last year. So last year was a little more unusual than what we normally would see. So this year is really, because of the interest rates and all, we're kind of back to normal on what we would see for new construction. So our total taxable value of all of our properties is $8.5 billion, and our new value is $8.4 billion. Now that's gone down, even though our appraised values went up, the taxable value goes down because of those increases in the homestead exemption, the $100,000 homestead exemption, and then the increase in the over 65 exemption. The total amount of our outstanding debt, in August, we do have debt payments, middle of August, middle of February. So we just paid some of our debt down, but as of August 31st, that total outstanding debt will be $444 million. In comparing our proposed tax rate with last year's rate, our rate in maintenance and operations stays the same. It's actually been the same. This will be the third year it's been at 0.7664. On our debt service, on our interest and sinking rate, last year the rate was 28 cents and 28.25 cents. That is going down to 26.02 cents, and the proposed rate is a little bit less than what we could have done, but it's 26.02 cents, just a slight decrease on that. So our total rate last year was $1.489. This year it will be $1.266. So that's a decrease in the tax rate from what we saw last year. The local revenue per student last year was our local revenue per student was $7,737, and our state revenue was $6,957. For this proposed budget, our local revenue will go down $7,642, while our state revenue goes up significantly. Most of that went into the salary increases that we have talked about all summer. So looking at that proposed levy with last year's levy on the average residence, our average market value of our residences went up some from $239,000 to $246,000. The average taxable value of the residence went down, as we just talked about, because of the increase in the homestead exemption that actually brought the taxable value down from $111,000 down to $91,698. So that with the using last year's tax rate, that would have resulted in taxes due on an average residence of $1,163.42. Using the average, the tax rate for this year, the taxes on the average residence would be $941.37. That's a reduction of $222.05 for the year on the average. So based on the calculations that we're required to do, and this is our notice of our voter-approved tax rate. The highest tax rate the district can adopt before requiring voter approval is the $2.6625 that you see this election. And if we were to adopt a rate tonight, not that we were recommending it, but that was higher than that, it would automatically trigger an election for a tax rate increase. We had talked about this a little bit on, this is just a history of where our tax rate has been and where it looks now. As you can see, it's the lowest it has been since, I don't even know when it would have been lower than this, because it was right at $1.45 and all for many years before that we started compressing in 2005. But it has continues to compress, will continue to compress under the law. There has been some discussion in the legislative sessions about doing away with property taxes. So that's for another year, though. Didn't happen this year. Looking a little at our official budget summary, the estimated revenues for the general fund were $162.5 million. Our appropriations were $168.9 million. There is an increase of 6.4 million, or a decrease, sorry, of appropriations over revenues of 6.4 million. We have operating transfers into our I think particularly Waco and the day school for the deaf of 298,000, which will result in a decrease of 6.7 million. And our beginning fund balance was 61 million with the ending fund balance of 54.3 million. So with the Cooper Foundation grant funding a big portion of that CIS, one of the things I had to do at the last minute in this proposed budget was budget for that contract that you guys approved for CIS. So we will be able to save that $300,000 or spend it on something else. But anyway, so that's going to be a savings to the budget now. On the Child Nutrition Fund, that right now the estimated revenues and appropriations are equal at $11.6 million. Our beginning fund balance is $7.3 million, and right now it looks like there will be a $7.3 million ending fund balance. Now we know that's not going to be the case because we just awarded the bids for those coolers, freezers, again, generators to be done in this coming year. We will amend that budget in August because we'll have those numbers to go ahead and amend that in. So we know we'll be drawing that fund balance, intentionally drawing that fund balance some in this coming year. On debt service, our revenues are $25.9 million. The appropriations are $26.1 million. We were required, because we had excess collections this past year, we were required to draw down that fund balance some in this coming year. So the beginning fund balance is $5.6 million. So the ending fund balance right now is projected to be $5.3 million. Now that is fairly predictable, a little bit less so perhaps this year because of the state hold harmless and really knowing what might happen with those homestead exemptions. And there might be, if you recall a couple years ago, when there's an increase in the homestead exemption, we did have significant adjustments in values throughout the year. And so we were kind of talking about this in cabinet as to why that happens, because as the over 65, and that was on one of the previous slides, I didn't mention it, but when you reach 65, there is, your taxes are frozen. And so go back here. So under state law, the dollar amount of school tax is imposed on the residence homestead of a person 65 years of age or older, or the surviving spouse of such a person, if the surviving spouse was 55 years of age or older when the person dies, may not be increased above the amount paid in the first year after the person turned 65, regardless of changes in the tax rate or property value. Now, the only thing that could change that is if someone were to make an addition to their home or something that could trigger some increase, but the change in rate will not, or an increase just in valuation will not increase the taxes. So what happened the last time we had a very large increase in the homestead exemption, which will probably happen again this year, is that people that were frozen at a certain tax bill, when the homestead exemption increased, their tax bill would have been less than what they were frozen at. So that's where you saw a lot of those big adjustments 2 years ago, was the tax office has to go back in and recalculate on those. And when the first year that bill, then when they increased the homestead exemption, they didn't think to to give them the ability to lower their bills. So the second year when they did that, they changed that to where that could happen. So we will see that this year with this bill, that those over 65 residences that are frozen at a higher amount will actually, the tax office will go in and start making those adjustments, and we'll see an adjustment in values and an adjustment in levy because of that. So just looking at a little at our official budget by revenue source, and again, that's those three funds that we just talked about, debt service, child nutrition, and the general fund. Our revenues come from the local and intermediate source revenue is about 46%. Our state revenue is 47%, and our federal program revenue is right at 7%. Now, mostly that's in the food service fund because almost all of the dollars in the food service fund come from federal program revenue. We have a little bit in the general fund, and there is no federal money in the debt service fund. Looking at it by major function of expenditure, by far, instructional and instructional related services make up 48% of our budget. We have 6% in instructional and school leadership, which includes the principal's offices. And then 15% is in student support services. That is guidance and counseling, social work services, health services, transportation, food services, and extracurricular activities. So that's 15% of our budget. The general administration of the district, which is things like payroll, is 3% of the budget. And then our non-student-based support services, this is plant maintenance and operations, security and monitoring services, and technology services. That makes up 14%. Community services is less than 1% of the budget. And then our debt service, primarily in the debt service fund. There is a little bit in our general fund, but that's 13% of the budget. And then our intergovernmental charges, those are payments into the TIF, into the Challenge Academy, the Day School for the Deaf, as well as the appraisal district. Looking at how our unassigned fund balance, and this is unassigned, if you have in the agenda tonight, under consent, there is an item to commit some of our fund balance. We are required for outstanding purchase orders, and I looked at those at the last minute last week before we did the board agenda to see how many purchase orders we had outstanding. We need to commit the fund balance for those purchase orders that were outstanding that will be outstanding at the end of the year. Now, those numbers could change as we go through. Most of them will. Most of those purchase orders will be received by August 31st and will go away. But That's part of it. And then we had we talked about the insurance money that we received for the roofing projects. So that will be a committed fund balance. And I think there's a couple of other little maintenance projects that will be committed. So that will bring our unassigned fund balance down from about 33% last year to about 29%. Now that's budget to proposed actual. So it's probably going to end up again higher than that because I would expect we will underspend that budget to some extent. So it might end up being pretty even with last year, I would expect. And then we looked at this last time too. This is our future principal and interest on our existing bonds. As you can see, we will have a little bit of a dip after 2038. We've got some, I think, we end up paying off the Series 2021, which was a refunding of the 2008 and 2009 bonds that we had from the last election. And then we pay off the 2022 and 2022B bonds in 2052. And then we have just a little bit left on those 2023 bonds. So that's what that debt service looks like. So then if the public has any input, questions, I'll be happy to address that.
Do we have any input or comments from the public? All right, thank you for the presentation and for the information shared. I will now close the public hearing on the budget and proposed tax rate for the 2025-26 fiscal year at 6:37. We will now move on to item number 7, information item reports. Trustee Bledsoe, do you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Abnusi, do you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Davis, do you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Guillory, do you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Patton, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Trustee Ochoa, do you have any questions?
No.
We'll now move on to item 8, consent agenda. Mr. Bledsoe, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
Mr. Abnusi, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
Mr. Davis, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
Mr. Guillory, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
Mr. Patton, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
Mr. Ochoa, is there anything you'd like pulled?
No.
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion?
I move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Patton, second by Mr. Bledsoe. Mr. Bledsoe, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Abnusi, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Davis, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Guillory, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Patton, is there any discussion?
No, sir.
Mr. Ochoa, is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. We're now moving on to item number 9, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding Alta Vista Elementary School and Kendrick Elementary School consolidation and closing and renaming, presented by Dr. King Knowles.
Good evening, President Vidania, members of the board, and Dr. Spicer. I want that right in my face. I know I've got a loud voice to begin with. So as we know, Kendrick Elementary, the new Kendrick, opened in August of 2025. With the opening of the new campus, the student populations of Kendrick Elementary and the majority of Alta Vista Elementary schools were consolidated into one campus under a specific campus identification number. The remaining Alta Vista students were rezoned to South Waco Elementary. As a part of closing any campus, our district administration follows the TEA guidelines and submitted a request to the Texas Education Agency back in February of 2025 to identify the closure of Alta Vista Elementary with campus code 161914101. At that meeting, it was Dr. Tiffany Spicer, myself, Cheryl Davis, Dr. Kornblum, Jessica Steele, and Mr. Patrick Utmore. We met with TEA representatives again April 9th to discuss the rationale for the request of the closure of that one school and then the consolidation with the other two. Um, as I mentioned already, those two being South Waco and Kendrick Elementary. Waco ISD, the team was informed that the TEA agency committee would make a review and a decision as far as the CNDN number. Okay. So on August 14th, TEA's Office of Governance and Accountability formally advised the district they would not approve the closure of Alta Vista Elementary campus code. So Kendrick Elementary had received the majority of the students due to the specialized bilingual programming that was offered at Kendrick Elementary to begin with. And so that increased the percentage of students that were going there versus Alta Vista Elementary. And therefore, TEA's committee decided to reassign the Alta Vista campus code to Kendrick Elementary. They did advise us, TEA, that we can continue using the identification code associated with Alta Vista Elementary with the renaming of that code to Kendrick Elementary School. So at this time, we are bringing that information for you, and I wanted to make sure that there were no questions.
What's the why?
The
Like
why.
why? Yeah, why do they do that?
So
What do they care?
that's a really great question, Trustee Bledsoe. I think one of the concerns that the Texas Education Agency has when a district might elect to close a campus is unfortunately been a historical precedent in other districts where they may choose to close a campus that is underperforming to avoid facing the consequences that are associated with the accountability rating. So in our instance, that was not the case. We were looking at our student population and unfortunately some declining enrollment that we were facing. We already had the bond passed. We were opening a new campus. We were remodeling another one. And we knew that the Alta Vista building itself really needed it to be rebuilt from the ground up as well. And so when we looked at how we needed to be as fiscally responsible as we possibly could, we knew that we had to make an unfortunate decision to close down that one campus. What I will say is a little bit interesting in the final meeting that we had with the Texas Education Agency. I think that they themselves were even caught off guard. While there's still work to be done with the accountability results that were associated with Alta Vista Elementary, and we acknowledge that, I don't think that they were expecting the rating to be what it was. And so in the end, it actually ends up serving moving forward. Once you all approve the renaming of the campus identification code to Kendrick Elementary, it ends up serving in their favor.
So effectively, Alta Vista's rating transfers to Kendrick, is what we're saying moving forward.
Moving forward, starting with the year 2026. So for 2025, the rating for Kendrick still stands, but what we will see eventually is that campus identification number stops after 2025, and the Alta Vista identification number under the name Kendrick Elementary School will continue to move forward.
Got it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. Thank you all.
Do we have to vote on that and approve it? Just verify. Yeah, so we do need to make a motion. Somebody, please.
No, make a motion to entertain a motion.
I move that we take the Alta Vista code to the new Kendrick campus and that we make that campus name Kendrick Elementary.
Second. Motion by Mr. Patton, second by Mr. Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. We're now moving on to item 10, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding adoption of budget for the 2025-26 fiscal year presented by Ms. Cheryl Davis.
So we adopt the budget first, then the tax rate. So consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the adoption of the budgets, plural, the proposed general fund budget of $168,880,277, The Child Nutrition Fund budget of $11,643,012, and the Debt Service Fund budget of $26,149,268 are presented on the attached schedule. The budgets were presented for the following assumptions. We have an ADA estimate of 11,502. This is average daily attendance, not enrollment. Our local net property tax values were of $8,807,683,968, with $16,687,470 in value that was still under protest when the chief appraiser certified our values. Our maintenance and operations tax rate of 76.64 cents per $100 of assessed value. Interest and sinking tax rate at 26.02 per $100 of assessed values. As provided for under HB2, classroom teachers as defined under TEC 48.158 with 5 or more years of experience received a $5,000 salary increase, and classroom teachers with 3 to 4 years of experience received a $2,500 increase. Waco ISD also approved a $1,500 increase for classroom teachers with 1 to 2 years of experience, and increase the starting salary on the teacher schedule from $53,000 to $54,000. All other employees received a 2% of their respective midpoint of their respective pay grades. The district monthly contribution to group health insurance was increased from $558.60 to $608.40 per month, and the average increase in it's effectively a 9% increase of the budget. The average increase for healthcare costs over recent years has been 8.4% per annum. So this is getting us a little ahead for this coming year. Employee contribution rates were increased between 0% and 12.2%, depending on coverage, their plan selection, and possible benefit changes. The proposed budgets were developed based on I've already read that, so I'm not going to read that again. Included in the budget are the state compensatory funds. This is a paragraph that we have to include in the budget adoption. The Texas Education Agency allots funds for school districts annually for state compensatory education. We have appropriately budgeted the state compensatory education dollars as we are required to for accelerated instruction program that enables the students to be performing at grade level at the conclusion of the next regular school term. So the amount that we receive presented in the general fund is $12,077,084 of SCE funds. The district is projected to receive $18,903,680 from the state through its foundation school program. The minimum expenditure of 55% has been repealed under the state law, but this budget represents 63.9% of that funding. Also attached are the budgets for the McLennan County Challenge Academy and the Regional Day School for the Deaf, both of which Waco acts. Thank you. I had one over there. Oh. Both of which Waco ISD acts as the fiscal agent for. So the budget for the Greater Waco Advanced Healthcare Academy is $1,251,414. The Greater Waco Advanced Manufacturing Academy is $1,369,217. And the McLennan County Challenge Academy is $1,037,398. Regional Day School for the Deaf is $794,844. So we recommend that you approve those budgets for the 2025-26 school year.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the proposed budget as recommended by administration for the fiscal year 2025 and 2026.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Guillory, second by Mr. Bledsoe. Mr. Bledsoe, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Abnusi, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Davis, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Guillory, is there any discussion?
I do. Mr. Davis, I know we talked about this. Have we looked at, I know we can talk about it later, but it's put on your mind, Guaca and Guama, and they're off campus right now. And we looked at possibly putting those on campus to kind of save some money there. So just we
Yes,
want to
sir.
talk about it. Yeah.
Noted, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Patton, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Ochoa, is there any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. We're moving on to item 11. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding adoption of the tax rate for the 2025-26 fiscal year presented by Ms. Davis.
So again, annually, the Board of Trustees must determine the property tax rate necessary to provide sufficient local revenues to fund the adopted budget for the succeeding fiscal year. The tax rate must be in two parts: an interest and sinking tax rate determined the amount is sufficient to cover the required debt service of interest and principal requirements for the district's outstanding voter-approved bonded debt, and then a maintenance and operations tax rate determined to meet the district's share of the general operating fund budget. All legal requirements, as I said earlier, have been met for setting the 2025 tax rate. The notice was advertised in the Waco Trib on August 16th. The administration recommends an M&O tax rate of 76.64 cents per $100 assessed valuation and a proposed INS rate of 26.02 cents per assessed value for 2025 for a total tax rate of 1.0266, and that will be the tax rate that is published on the tax bills. The 2024 M&O rate was 76.64. As I said, it was the same last year for M&O, and 28.25 cents for INS. Additional state aid for the homestead exemption and the fund balance may also be utilized in funding the district's 25-26 debt service. And we do get, when those homestead exemptions are applied the way they are, we usually get some hold harmless amount from the state to help us fund our debt. So this year's proposed tax rate exceeds the no new revenue tax rate. The vote on resolution setting the tax rate must be a record vote, and the motion to adopt it must be in the form that is listed in red on your agenda item. So, and as I said earlier, we cannot exceed that rate without triggering an election. So administration recommends
Well,
that we.
I move that we'll do it. I make a motion to
No,
entertain a motion.
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 1.026600, which is effectively a 2.35% increase in the tax rate.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Davis, second by Mr. Bledsoe. Mr. Bledsoe, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Abnusi, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Davis, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Guillory, is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Patton, is there any discussion?
No, sir.
Mr. Ochoa, is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. We are moving on to item 12.
One last note, this that you see here, this notice that was in the paper yesterday, the House and Senate both passed a bill that we will need to mail this out next year to every taxpayer within Waco ISD boundaries, so.
And
Another cost to.
Are they giving us any funding for that, Cheryl?
Nope.
Is
Are they
a
giving us any
unfunded-
funding for that?
It is unfunded, and I did learn after that passed, so I'm in a couple groups. For let me see, Dallas ISD shared that they would have to spend $225,000 just to mail those, and I want to say, don't quote me on this, and I think it was Frisco. They were going to have to spend about $65,000. We have not figured how much it's going to cost us, but we will have to fund that ourselves and send that to every taxpayer in our area.
Is that per household or per taxpayer?
I think it's household. Ms. Cheryl, am I correct? I can't see. We will not commit either way.
Taxpayer. We're moving on to item 12, review and discuss timing and funding for future bond elections to address facility needs presented by Michelle Davis and Ms. Gloria Barrera.
And as they make their way, this was a request from a trustee, and so we did put some information together. If you read your board memo, we shared just some, I'll say, hopefully some in-depth background knowledge to kind of help you with this, and then they're going to share some things, and then we'll open the floor. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, uh, members of the board, and Dr. Spicer. So as Dr. Spicer just said, we assembled some background information for you regarding the last bond because very few of us were here when that bond planning was done. So we gave you a recap in this board memo. And then we also have a couple of slides that just kind of lay things out for where the long-range plan would leave us, or where we would be right now with the long-range plan. So what the next steps would be.
So we just talked about this and where we are with debt. This is what we have outstanding right now. So if we issue bonds that are, typically our financial advisor will layer any new debt service in. They try to do it fairly evenly over the life of the bond. We have been, I think, getting 30-year bonds. That's typical right now of districts. It used to be about 25 years, but now it's 30 years. So then the next slide. Okay, you got it. This is our asset to debt ratio, currently estimated. As you can see, this is one of our PEMS criteria that we are measured on and that scores our financial accountability. So what you see is for the 24 financial accountability, which was for the 22-23 year fiscal year, we scored a 6, so we lost 4 points on that item. This year, or this past year for 23-24, we just received our preliminary PEM scores last week or so, and we did come up a little bit. We received an 8. Estimating it based on where it looks like we're projected to end this year, we may go down to a 6. But as you can see, the way these percentages work, we're just straddling that 6 and 8 points every year, because just a little bit of difference in cash will make it, mostly cash, but in our assets will make this go one way or the other. So you see early projection. This is, there's a reason I don't do quick and dirty, because this is wrong. So you got to run the numbers. You just need to run the numbers. So I went in, put in the additional debt. If we did about a $200 million bond election, I put that in there. But what I forgot is that we also get the cash from that. So we will end up with, after this next one, we would end up probably around a 6 still, I would think, once I put the cash in, because we will be drawing down. So this criteria that you see right here has less to do with your debt service fund than it has to do. This is your government-wide, and it's more impacted with the situation your general fund is in, and where if you're drawing down your fund balance or you have less cash assets available because of your general fund balance. So that's where you see more movement for this particular ratio than you do in debt. Now on the next one.
Ms. Davis, I need to interrupt you because
Okay.
I don't understand the scoring, the importance of the scoring rank, the 6 and the 8 point. Could you explain that a little bit more for me?
Well, to get superior achievement on school first for financial accountability, you need to be at least at a 90. And so the points add up to 100, and whenever you score less on some of these criteria, there's 21, and so if you score less, then it's going to be dropping down. Mostly in these categories, you'll see will drop down 2 points with each change in the sector that you're in.
So the lower the number, the better?
No, the lower the number, the worse. Because so
Okay.
you'll get out of superior achievement, and I think we are at 94 right now. So, because we lose 2 points in our administrative cost ratio, we only lost 2 points. We went up a couple points this year. On the next one that we're going to talk about, we also lost some points on it as well. And that one relates more to debt service. This one is the ratio of our long-term debt, our bonded debt, to the assessed property values. And you can see that one is going to, I think, maintain right at 8 points, even if we issue new debt, just because of where our property values are, and we have a wider range there. So we'll get 8 points there. So there's 2 points there. Last year, there was 4 points off of that previous ratio and 2 points off the administrative cost ratio. So with those, we were down to a 92 last year. This year it's a 94 because we've only lost 6 points, but in another couple of points, we'll drop below superior achievement on our financial accountability. Doesn't seem like a lot, but in the finance world, you don't want to drop down that low.
Does
You
that
don't want to
impact
drop below
interest rate that we would
well,
receive?
and yes, we're going to talk about that because this next slide shows you, this is Moody's rating for us this past year. And it kind of shows some of the things that they look at when they're rating a district. And you can kind of see that not a lot of these really have to do with debt as much as they do with your general fund. You see the chart over here, they talk about our enrollment. Enrollment's a big thing when they're looking at how they're going to rate you for a bond sale. And with us, we've had that declining enrollment. And so the last few years, they've questioned, building new buildings and when your enrollment is declining the way it has been. So that's one of the things that they'll look at. Then they'll look at our fund balance as a percent of revenue. And that is our general fund balance. That's not really the debts. They're not looking at the debt service fund. They're looking at your general fund. And that just kind of shows where that has been as a percent of revenues. If you look over here, they look at that net cash ratio, and we're at 35.9%, and then down at the bottom, that fixed cost ratio at 9.8%. So they're going to be looking more, and when we talk through our ratings meetings, they talk about the economy of Waco, they talk about the growth of our property values, and most of it relates to that rather than debt. Now, all that impacts the tax rate that we can sell our bonds at. And so if we don't, we've maintained, it was a little iffy. I had to talk real fast this last ratings meeting to keep it, to not get a degradation in our rating. But they've been lowering ratings all across the nation this past year or so. And I'm a little more concerned about that, but yes. And 1% difference in your borrowing rate for bonds when you're maybe selling $200 million worth of bonds is a lot of money to have to pay out in interest. So it's just important, I think, to keep the general fund where we need it to be in our fund balance.
Sure, I have a question. You said we could possibly be dinged for building new schools during declining enrollment. Do they look at it differently if, say, for example, we were considering building schools to consolidate schools during declining enrollment?
That is one of the things we definitely have, because that was one of the conversations I had with Moody's when we did this last time, was the fact that we were planning on closing Alta Vista and consolidating two schools as we did that. And, well, actually, we were closing two because we closed with the middle school too. So we closed two schools, and yes, that does come into play when you're talking through those.
Another possible scenario, if we were to disperse property, would that impact positively or negatively if we were to, for whatever reason, get rid of some properties that we own?
Where you'd have that impact is if you sold properties, you have that cash flow coming in, which that first ratio that we were looking at,
Yes, ma'am.
because you're talking about current assets to your debt, that would have a positive impact on that ratio. So the last thing I put in here is old. It was one of the many things that Dusty brought forward when we were talking through the bond election last time on what it might look like. Now, our values aren't the same, and, but this was, I think, what, 250 million, I think, total? About 248 million into issues. So just to kind of give you an idea of what the impact that he presented was on the tax rate, about 10 cents to start with. So I just, like I said, the values have changed not a lot over these last few years, not like they were changing there for a while. But I think this kind of gives you an idea of, again, of what that impact could be on the tax rate if we issued more bonds. Okay, let Gloria.
Okay. So in this slide, the table you see there on the left-hand side that says done, well, it's not quite all the way done, but it's almost all the way done. Those are all the projects that were included in the 2021 bond. When you look over to the right, you see Bond 2 and Bond 3, which was a forecast, if you will, that they did back in 2021 to say, okay, what if we did this at this time? And those are the kind of things that were included because that's what the community and the committee that was developing the bond came up with. You can see if you look to the square at the bottom or the rectangle at the bottom, the total facilities master plan identified over $900 million in need. Well, that's a lot. And so you do have to take continuous bites of it because you can't do it all at one time. There were some major items in the bond, and that was, as far as the long-range plan that remain, there were still 5 elementary schools identified for future replacement. And there were major renovations of multiple other schools. This would include, for example, Cesar Chavez Middle School, et cetera, schools that are of an age that they're starting to really need some updating. And even other schools too, as Mountain View and Parkdale, and I could go on. But you know the ones. Also upgrades to the Waco ISD Stadium and district infrastructure, as in maintenance and transportation facilities support, and then the over 250,000 in deferred maintenance, which is all kind of infrastructure projects, civil work, drainage work, site work, parking lots, all those kind of things. If you think about, some of the parking lots we have around our facilities are really in pretty rough shape. Those are the kind of things that make up that $250,000. So. I'm sorry?
250 million or 250,000?
250 million.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Could you go back to the previous slide, please? So if we were just to look at Bond 2, Bond 1, Bond 2, and Bond 3, those are done. I remember at our community meetings, Dr. Spicer, when we were first looking, it's an XY axis, and they're like certain buildings were hotter
Yes.
and priorities. Thank you. I
Yes.
just remember that axis. So Bond 1, Bond 2, Bond 3, those were categorized by the hot items,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
The hottest ones we did first, and then okay.
I have a question on this. Anything we pose as far as a bond has to go before the community and be voted on, right? Okay. And so I believe on the heels of like a tax hike and also test scores, and I think we need to be a little bit more student focused than bond focused. I appreciate the presentation though. Thank you.
I'll echo that. I was part of the planning committee before even being on the board, and I just think at this time we need some more wins academically before we keep building new buildings. I want every kid to have their new building, but I also want them to achieve academically.
Thank you.
All right. Nothing. All right. Thank you, Ms. Davis and Ms. Barrera. We'll move on to item 13, announcements presented by Chief Cox.
Good evening, President Vidania, Dr. Spicer, trustees. Um, Football season is finally here. Both our Lions and Trojans take the field tomorrow night in week 1 of Friday Night Lights action. As we prepare to enjoy this season at Waco ISD Stadium, we want to make sure that all fans know that tickets are available online and there is a clear bag policy in place along with other safety procedures. So plan accordingly, get your tickets in advance, come out, be a great fan for both of our teams. We know it's going to be a great season for Coach Martinez, Coach Foster, and all our fans. Volleyball is also underway with district kicking off for both high schools next month. Those games are on Tuesdays and Fridays like clockwork. Come out to the gyms and check out those teams in action. I know they're already off to a good start. Additional information and team schedules for tennis, cross country, and all the middle school action you could handle are available on the athletics website. So get out. I think the weather's actually rather lovely if it's not raining, and get out and enjoy some Waco ISD sports. Labor Day holiday is this weekend. The district and all campuses will be closed on Monday in observance of the day. So enjoy your 3-day weekend, families and staff. Friday, September 12th and Monday, September 15th aren't very far off, and those are student holidays. The Friday is a professional development day, and Monday is a protected planning day. So thank you to our families and our board for adopting that calendar that allows our staff to have those PD and planning days back to back. We're not sitting on our laurels here. On that Friday, September 12th, at 11:30 a.m., Waco ISD Athletics, and Waco High School will be hosting HLN's Conectar event, highlighting Latinos in sports as a part of kicking off celebrations for Hispanic Heritage Month. While I know this event does coincide with the board's conference, we have given our apologies, and excuses. I know to the board from HLN, but that student holiday, kids not being in the building, and that beautiful new school, and the chance to kick off the month are just too much. Like we're gonna go forward. Don't worry. A friend of Waco ISD and Mr. Boteo will be there. I'm sure video production will be a part of it. We will make sure. So we will have it documented. I do want to give a special shout out to Mr. McAdoo, HLN board member and amazing brainchild of how this is all coming together. All credit goes to him. So we look forward to telling y'all how awesome that event is that Friday. Monday, when y'all are back, Dr. Spicer highlighted the dedication event for Kendrick. This is the first of 3 dedications we're going to spread out over this academic year for those amazing bond projects. So Kendrick's up first. It's following in the order of, celebration, and we will get you more details, and we will start promoting out with the communications team that date, and really expect a good crowd to show up. I also wanted to flag for you all tonight that plans are underway with the City of Waco to host a special street sign unveiling of the newly renamed Lions Way as a part of Waco High School's homecoming festivities, the week of September 22nd. Stay tuned for more details as we solidify how we're going to celebrate Waco High in a really grand way with the City of Waco. And finally, our regular board meeting for September is on Thursday, the 25th. Thank you.
The Waco ISD Board of Trustees will now go into closed session at 7:14. This time pursuant of the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551, Sections .071 and .072. We do not anticipate taking action when we return. At 7:48, the board will reconvene in open session, and we are adjourned.